who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to this week's Wow Report. We're going to count down the top 10 things that made us go wow. Oh my God, what a week. This week.
What a crazy, crazy week.
RuPaul on the cover of Interview magazine.
Looking fantastic.
All Stars 5 announced.
Oh my God.
Drag Race Season 12.
Stop it.
It never ends.
And there's more. And we'll be talking about that later in the show.
And
right?
the countdown continues to DragCon New York.
It's just days away.
Just 2 weeks.
Literally
2
around the
weeks.
corner.
Get your tickets at RuPaul'sDragCon.com.
Thank you. Yes. you
And
want to.
information.
Because actually, one of the surprises we'll have there are some surprises I can't reveal, but one surprise I can reveal is that the UK cast of Drag Race will be there.
Well,
at DragCon.
let's talk about that later.
We
in
will.
The countdown.
Okay, good. I love
Okay.
it. I love
Uh-huh.
it. So I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, with James St. James sitting on my right, occupying the center seat.
I have been waiting
I
to sit
know.
here for 3 years now.
Right.
And now that we've gotten rid of Tom Campbell
Oh,
for good,
Tom.
I get to sit here.
Tom is temporarily, what is the word? Not detained. Is serving at His Majesty's pleasure is what we say in England. But no, Tom is on a top secret mission. I'm sure you can't guess what it is. And he'll be back very soon. But we miss him.
We're hoping he'll be back next week, yeah.
I don't know about
next
that.
week. James, you better get back to your seat.
Wait, it's very disorienting sitting here. I don't
Is it?
know.
You don't know where to look.
I don't know what's going on.
You can watch on Wow's YouTube. What's
Wow-
it? Wow
Wow
Presents.
Presents, yeah.
Thank you.
What?
You can watch
This
the
show.
show. It's
This
a
show.
radio show that's also got the magic of TV.
This show right here.
I am all confused. I am
James, what day is it?
Friday.
Thank you. That's right. Because we're almost live here from World of Wonder HQ on Hollywood Boulevard. RuPaul's star is just outside.
Alex, our custodian, is currently...
polishing it
Yeah.
right now. Giving it a spit and polish. Ooh.
I think he
is.
puts like glitter on it and
He
stuff.
does, yes. Every day he glitters it up.
Glitter budget. Get through so much glitter. Okay, well let's do the countdown. Let's start out with number 10, James.
Number 10.
Wow. I am so excited to talk about this. I texted you over the weekend, and I said, you need to watch this. You're really, 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 really going to like it. It's called My Favorite Shapes with Julio Torres on HBO. It's a comedy special. It is the most batshit insane thing I've seen all decade.
Revolutionary. I did exactly as I was told. I watched it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Explain
Who
it.
greenlit this? Because
Right.
it is insane. It is Julio Torres is a writer and comedian from Venezuela. He's a twink who can think, which is a rarity in the gay community. He was a writer on Saturday Night Live
Okay.
Oh,
for
really?
years. What?
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
How can he have been on for years? He's only like 12 years
I
old.
know.
It does seem that way, doesn't he? He also has this show on HBO with Fred Armisen called Los Espuquios.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, or Los Espookies, and it's a comedy show in Spanish. I've never seen that before, but he is he's really out there. His comedy is bizarre. He comes out in a little silver suit.
He had you at that,
He
right?
had me at the silver suit. He has a little glitter on his cheeks.
And on his hands.
And
glitter.
on his hands. He sits down. It's a white set, a minimalist set.
Yep.
There's a white conveyor belt.
Love a conveyor belt.
So
the
hot.
only thing better than a conveyor belt is a trapdoor.
And the first thing he says is, there's a lot of shapes that we're got to get through. I'm just going to start right in the beginning. And a little square comes out. And the square, he starts telling these little backstories about these shapes.
Yeah.
Makes no sense whatsoever. He just riffs, and at one point he does like some shells come out, and he does like a whole bit about house hunters for shells,
Yes.
or for hermit crabs looking for different shells. Then he does this one little bit about how you never see in every episode of the Flintstones, you never see Fred alone with Betty Rubble. So he does this whole riff about like why they aren't friends. He does this one time a little Pearl comes out, and the Pearl, he's talking about how the Pearl is shy and it's too beautiful for this world. and the pearl is Timothy Chalamet. And it's like, what? Like, what are you talking? And
I
then
know.
At one point, he has all these little shapes come out, and he puts them together, and he says, when you put them together, they make Tilda Swinton's apartment. It's so stupid, but it's so funny.
Brilliant. It is
brilliant.
so brilliant.
Tell me what your thoughts were.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was instantly happy. People recommend things all the time, and you watch it and you say, why did they recommend this? But from the moment that it opened up with that sort of space sounds, and he's standing in I always love TV sets where it makes no sense. It's just abstract shapes. And he's on the phone to his mother, and then he's wearing the silver lame, and I was just gobsmacked. And
it's sort of like Pee Wee Herman doing ASMR.
Yes. Yes. Now that is really important because he only talks like this.
And leans right into the microphone.
So there's no traditional comedy delivery of ba-dum-bum and none of that garbled Joan Rivers. Everything is very carefully spoken.
It's very deadpan, 80s
it's so
performance
deadpan.
art.
It's deadpan.
Yes.
Deadpan. But what I need to know more about him. Where does he come from? You're saying he's been writing on SNL for years?
He famously did one of his most famous things for SNL, which is very him, now that I look back on it, was Ryan Gosling did a digital short one time about how the Avatar font was papyrus, and how he went
I
crazy
kind of remember
about
that.
Called papyrus, and how dare this is the biggest this is the biggest movie in the world, and they're using a papyrus font. What is that? It's very weird. Everything he's done for SNL has been very bizarre.
I would think that he did that skit, this I'm Noonie and this is Noonie, where they sit their
little art. He did a lot of digital shorts, and he did one with Emma Stone that was really famous too. That was very bizarre, and I can't think of what that one was. But I am in love.
I'm in love.
I find him. His type of humor is just unlike anything I've ever seen.
Unlike
before.
anything, and he makes it seem so easy, and you don't necessarily think it's hilariously funny, but it just is. I've always Kathy Griffin, who I love and think is also she's talking away, and it's like, oh, I could do that. You think, oh, it's easy. Make it look so easy. And he also, you think he's just sitting there.
Well, you can see that he was probably a lonely little gay boy growing up, and he just would sit and play. He probably didn't have a lot of toys, and he just would take boxes and cardboard boxes and just make up backstories about everything.
He's probably an only child.
Yeah.
I loved when he brought out the high-heeled shoe that has other little shoes on it. And it's the most extraordinary. I can't even tell any of his jokes because they don't have any. They don't have a setup or a punchline.
And when he brought out the tiny little chair, and he was like, some people say I'm too niche. And then he puts the potato in the chair.
Or is it the crystal? I want to know if crystals work. So he puts it in a chair with a little desk.
It's so stupid, but it's so funny.
It is. It's so brilliant.
Oh, I'm so glad you watched it. I'm so glad
I
you
thought
loved
it was really, really profound in ways I haven't yet even begun to formulate.
I really need to watch it again.
I think we should do a whole special on my favorite bits from my favorite shapes.
Well, I just want him to become a wild celebrity. I want you to do a series with him.
I'm sure he's very
An art
busy.
show.
Yes. Anyway, so that's my favorite
I might
thing.
be a little terrified to spend time. Don't you think? I mean, he's obviously so super duper brilliant.
Yeah. I think he's in his early 30s. I don't think he's quite as young as we think he is, but he's still. I mean, just
you got to watch it. Stream My Favorite Shapes. Julio Torres.
Julio Torres
on HBO Go, HBO Now.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9.
Number 9.
I went to the Yola Dia Festival this weekend.
What is the Yola Dia Festival?
Well, it's brand new.
What does Yola Dia stand for?
Well, I think Yola Mezcal is who sponsored it or something. Mezcal is the drink.
Okay.
The alcohol.
Yeah.
But it was originally Licky Lie, Charlie XCX, which I'm obsessed. Cat Power, Courtney Love, Cupcake, and Megan Thee Stallion.
What? Wait a minute. Okay, first of all, I love Cupcake, and I love Courtney, and I love everyone else you mentioned there. But who is this Megan Thee Stallion that everywhere I turn, I keep seeing her name?
Well, yeah, the first time I heard of her, I was driving down Hollywood Boulevard, and there was a
star.
No, she's a hip hop girl.
Okay.
She's it's Hot Girl Summer. She has that new hit with Nicki Minaj, Hot Girl Summer, and everyone's like, it's a Hot Girl Summer,
Yeah, I've heard people have been saying that to me. People have been saying, James, it's Hot Girl Summer.
Well, I missed
means.
her set because she was on like the main stage and they were setting up for the one Miss, Courtney Love.
Oh, gorgeous.
So I was like 5 people back from, and it was, okay, first of all, I went to see Courtney Love in like 1998 when she was touring with Marilyn Manson.
I remember
and
that
there was
one,
the
yeah.
infamous falling out, and then they split up, and I only got to see Marilyn Manson, and I was so upset.
Well, we love Marilyn anyway.
Well,
but
yeah,
still.
but I wanted to go to see Courtney Love because since Lived Through This, I've been a Courtney lover.
Now, I did see Courtney has just mentioned
But
on
this
her
made
Instagram,
up for all of it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Courtney mentioned on her Instagram that she's been sober for a year.
Yes.
And does it reflect in her performance?
She looked amazing.
Fantastic, yes.
Amazing. She was wearing couture and even made like a little joke like she couldn't get one of the buttons off.
I saw
was
that.
like-
I saw that online.
yeah. But she did all of the whole hits. She opened with Miss World, which is like my absolute favorite song of all time.
Doll parts? Did she do?
She did doll parts. Actually, she kind of blew out her voice during doll parts because the band, it was the Chateau Band, which included Roddy Bottom from Faith No More and this guy, Scott Lips. I don't know if they were the only 2 I knew. He was the drummer, and she kept really berating him because he was playing too loud, and she was like, I've got to control these men. You know?
It's the first time she's performed in a while, right?
I mean, she performs around, but I think this was like the first, like, she did whole song. I don't.
Did she do Malibu?
She did Malibu.
Okay,
She did Live Through Asking for It.
What's the girl with the most cake? What's that one?
That's doll parts.
That's doll parts. Okay.
Yeah.
She's just so fun. She's actually also a brilliant comedian.
And she's
She is
smart
so
as hell.
Whip smart.
Yeah. Like, I think she's probably Mensa or something.
I
like,
know she was educated in Britain.
yeah.
Nice.
She was amazing. I mean,
Did you see Cupcake? Oh, you didn't see Cupcake.
Cupcake was late, and so she came, her flight was delayed or whatever, so she only got to do one song, but it was amazing. I wish I could have gotten to see more of her.
How were the bathrooms?
They were just porta potties.
Because that's always my anxiety about festivals.
I can't do festival. I can't do outdoors.
Well,
I
shade.
can't do,
that's how I can't do like Coachella. Like, I can't do a travel to a festival, but this was
I can't do
in
porta-
LA, so I just drove down there it was for the day.
And
But I can't do porta potties. I can't do wall to wall people in the sunshine. It drives me absolutely bananas.
It actually wasn't that bad. I was worried about all that too, but there was a nice breeze. It was awesome.
Oh, okay.
But this was originally scheduled for June 8th, but I guess ticket prices or ticket sales weren't that good, so they pushed it back.
Huh.
And so Charlie wasn't there.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah, you said Charlie was there.
Well, she was supposed to be, but then they moved it to April 18th or August 18th,
Okay.
which
Well, Yola Dia 2020 hasn't been announced yet, but we'll keep you posted, right?
yep.
Right.
All right.
Speaking of Loos.
Speaking of Loos, number 8.
Number 8.
So oh God, what is this place called? Porthcawl Town Council. Now, Porthcawl is a seaside village on the south coast of Wales. And
Have you been to Wales?
I've been to Wales, but I haven't been to Porthcawl. Mm-hmm. Or is it Port? Anyway, I haven't been there.
Well, if
and
it's Wales, it's like Portugal, like some weird, you know how they pronounce things. They're very strange.
They have a beautiful sing-song voice. The home of Dylan Thomas under Milkwood.
And,
Love him.
And Liz Taylor and Richard Burton.
And Ione Griffith, who was in...
I love me some Ione Griffith.
Anyway, back to the Loos. The Porthcawl Town Council are investing...
Sean is how he pronounced it. I'm terribly sorry.
Thank you. Wow, that was very ejaculatory, which might get me back on track. Because these loos, they're spending $250,000 on
Per loo?
some new loos. Like, I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. They're demolishing the old ones because their aesthetic is considered out of date.
And these
I mean,
are
the whole thing is
public
like-
loos, right?
They're public loos. They're henceforth going to be, you have to pay to use them. They haven't determined the fee. But the thing about these loos is that they're specially constructed to spray amorous couples with water if they start having intercourse in them.
How do they know? Are there
Right.
cameras? What's going on?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I mean, some couples might like it to be sprayed
Right.
with water while
Water sports.
They have there you go, they're by the seaside.
Right.
They have pressure-sensitive floors that are able to detect if more than one.
But what happens if you're a 400-pound person?
Yes.
Wouldn't they just think that that's two people?
Right. Or what if you need to assist the person in the bathroom?
Or
Like
what if
you're-
you were doing a powdery substance and it ruins it?
Right. Well, they don't want that happening
Listen,
either.
my mother would go into bath, and she had a walker, and she would sometimes get
You
stuck.
would have been hosed down.
And people had to go in and help her often.
The other thing that they've got.
They'd all be hosed down.
They'd be
They'd hose
hosed
down an
down.
89-year-old woman.
The other thing is that they also have sensors to detect violent movement.
Like,
Well, every time I go to the bathroom, it's a violent movement. I think.
oh,
No.
TMI, Fenton Bailey.
They're thinking, so I guess the way people have sex
If
these
you're
days is
thrashing
violent.
about and you're bouncing up and down on a toilet.
Yes.
Doing the dolphin.
I mean, it just seems like paranoia has reached an all-time high that people in Porthcawl only want to go fuck in the bathrooms.
But on the other hand, where else are you going to fuck if you're on the seaside? I mean,
Right.
you want to go have sex, you go into a bathroom
Right.
stall. Who cares?
Well, the other threat in these bathrooms
I don't
apparently is
care.
homeless people. So after a certain point, if you go in and you're there for a long period, the lights go off and the heating goes off, and they basically and then a loud sounding alarm goes off.
Well, I mean, but homeless people have to poo too. I mean, I
and they
don't
have to
like.
sleep. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
I
Well-
find it, yeah. I mean,
Maybe it's a good thing. If
Oh,
they
when people
need
can
showers.
I left out one detail. On the outside, there is going to be a defibrillator. So I suppose if people have the sex is too good and one of them passes out, they can revive them. Or if they die of fright from the being sprayed, they can
Right?
get out the defibrillator and revive
well,
them.
I just hope this isn't a trend that other people start taking up. I don't find this nice at all. I think this is
It seems like a lot of money to spend
it's a
on
lot of it.
something like not.
I
I
agree.
mean, for one or two people having sex every couple months, like go let them have sex.
Right. Town Councillor Mike Clark said, rebuilding the public toilets is an important element of Porthcawl Town Council's ambition to ensure that Porthcawl is a great place to live, work, and to visit.
Well, I'm never going to Porthcawl. This
I think
sealed the deal.
they would-
I was going to have a sex trip to Porthcawl's beach, and now I'm saying no.
But I've got good news for you, James. If you go right away, because they're going to close the current WC
so
in
basically,
October. So
make
you've
your
got,
trip now.
got a couple of months. Go have it off in Porthcawl.
Okay.
Alrighty. I think we should take a break.
Let's do it.
Blake, have you got a question for us?
I do. They're about Courtney Love. What epic band was Courtney Love briefly the lead singer of in the early 80s? Epic.
80s.
The hint
You're
is
listening-
epic.
Yeah. Epic.
Is
that a clue?
That's the clue?
That's a clue.
Oh, Epic. They were signed to Epic? Who knows?
Oh.
You're listening to Wow Report on Radio. Andy will have the answer right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back. I'm Fenton, here with James and Blake. And we're doing our usual Friday afternoon thing. We're counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow.
And before the break, we were talking about Courtney Love. Well, actually, we were talking about bathrooms. But the trivia question is Courtney Love.
Yeah, what epic band was Courtney Love briefly the lead singer of in the early 80s?
See, I'm going to say Pearl Jam. Because that's the only other band I can think
No,
of.
she was in New York in the early 80s.
Oh.
Because she was in, remember she was in the movie,
That was the mid 80s.
yeah, but she was in Andy Warhol's 15 Minutes, remember?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She was also, what was the band?
Shazork.
The band was Faith No More.
Oh, well,
That's where she met Roddy Bottom.
Roddy Bottom, yeah.
And they had a hit song in 1990 called Epic.
And what happened? Like, she didn't sing.
They I actually was just reading about it, and they wanted a more male power or something.
All right, so let's carry on with the countdown. What number have we reached? 10, 9, 8, 7.
Number 7.
I wanted to talk a little about. Well, did you guys hear that Will and Grace is going away again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've decided not to renew or
Everyone's so rich, there's no point in carrying on.
I was really upset. That was one of my favorite shows, like back in the day.
Well,
But
I know you can quote every single episode. You do frequently.
Debra Messing.
God, James, you're taking advantage of being in the seats, just shaming us all.
Debra Messing said on Instagram at the time, "We are so lucky to have the opportunity to reunite and do the show again. It was only supposed to be 10 episodes, but because of you, the fans, it turned into 3 years. What a miracle. We are all committed to making this season the best ever. And to wrap up the story, Will, Grace, Jack, and Karen in a way that feels meaningful and right."
But now what we've come to learn.
Well, yeah, now her and Megan Mullally, who plays Karen on the series, she plays Grace, have unfollowed each other on Instagram.
There's a feud.
And
There's
everyone...
a celebrity feud.
Call Ryan Murphy.
And, right? And they're saying that the reason why they ended the show was because they hate each other so much.
Really?
Right, yeah. Mullally, they unfollowed each other, and then Megan Mullally posted cryptic messages about people who aren't good for you. She said, "One of the best feelings is finally losing your attachment to someone who isn't good for you."
I know that feeling.
And she also posted, "Don't ask people for directions if they've never been where you're going."
Which is a very pointed way of saying, screw you.
Yeah,
Megan
yeah.
Mullally.
Why is it?
I don't know.
Unpack it for me.
Well, wait. What she says, don't ask people for directions if they've never been where you're going. I don't know quite what that one means, but it's finally losing your attachment to someone who isn't very good for you. So obviously they've just been thrust together time and time again, and they've just grown to loathe each other.
But they've always made it seem like the cast is just like the best of friends.
Well, that's
know?
what a good actor does.
Meanwhile,
And you are such a performer. You're like,
we all loathe each other, and look at what fun we pretend to have every week.
well, do you have any insight into what the feud is? The nature of this.
we haven't heard it. No.
I thought the Golden Girls didn't like each other, right?
Oh, they all hate
Right.
each other.
So do you think it's just the nature of the beast that when you are doing a show together,
Well, and
you end up
the
displacing?
Sex and the City girls famously.
They all hate each other. Yeah. But I imagine. Well, first of all, I don't think this last couple seasons have been very good. I think they started off and they did all.
See, I thought the last season was one of the best.
But they started off and they had all this sort of anti-Trump jokes and all this stuff, and then they realized that they needed to get some red state audience in there, so they stopped doing that, and it sort of took the bite out of it. And I think they sort of.
But do you think red state's audiences are really watching Will and Grace
but
in the
that's
first
just
place?
it.
Wasn't it just the pilot that was about Trump?
No. But the thing about Will and Grace was it started off and it was just homos watching it, and then by the end, by season 2 or 3, it was like the entire world was watching.
Yeah.
And they did have a red state audience. They did have. They were the homosexuals that everybody, your parents would love, your grandmother would love.
And that's one of the
It's
reasons
like-
I love this show.
Yeah,
but
it's like Will and Grace and Walter Mercado.
What? Walter Mercado?
Every
love
old
Walter
I know. That's what I'm
Mercado.
saying. Like every grandmother loved Walter Mercado.
They're making a documentary about Walter Mercado.
I love him so much.
So do I. Very
well,
excited.
that's all I've got. I mean, Will and Grace will be back in the fall, but it won't be back after that. Yeah.
What?
Well, can I go next, James?
Well, I suppose.
Well, because speaking of feuds,
Yeah.
Number 6.
I went to see Hobbs and Shaw, which is the Fast and Furious presents. The Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
What does that even mean?
Well, I take it
Who cares?
you've seen.
I've never seen
every
any of
episode.
them.
Oh, do you know it is Universal's biggest franchise?
Really?
Do you know it has generated box office sales of $5 billion?
That is crazy to
But
me.
isn't
Right?
this one of those things that it's like lowest common denominator?
Oh, excusez-moi.
I remember the first one coming out. It was like when I was in early college, and I thought that it would just a one and done.
But it was when Paul Walker was in it. God bless him. He was absolutely gorgeous. But then after he's gone, like, what's the purpose of going on?
It's doing, well, funny enough, tragically, yes, he's gone. But they made one afterwards that did really well. And now this spin-off is also doing really well.
But
it is a very, but it, yes, what?
Didn't the one guy in it hate
Yes.
The Rock, and is that why they did
That's
it?
Vin Diesel, right?
Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Which you would think they're cut from the same cloth.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're too similar. Maybe that's the Megan thing. Maybe they're too similar.
Yeah.
And so how do you ask someone for directions if you don't know where you haven't been yet? Thing, sort of thing.
Where you're going.
They went off and did their own thing. It's Jason Statham and The Rock. And they have a fabulous... I mean, we've seen... I can't quite get my head around Jason Statham.
Well,
he's almost like the sort of comedic Michael Caine, but he's not that. No, I just went to a wide shot.
Oh,
I have to wear many hats. This isn't a big budget show.
But wait a minute, because I was just going to ask about Jason Statham because people go bananas for him. They just think he's so sexy. I don't get it at all. I don't find bald men attractive.
But do you get it, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't kick him out of bed. You would?
I wouldn't let him in.
You wouldn't?
No.
I find him a little creepy, frankly.
Yeah, and that really ultra sharp Cockney accent, and it just, and then he's always playing buffoons. Like he was in The Meg, playing an idiot sort of superhero. In Spy, he was the incompetent superhero. I got kids.
Wait, but I can't even imagine Nolan liking this.
Oh,
franchise.
we loved it.
Okay,
I have to say, the car chases are, if you like a little bit of car chase porn, and I'm partial, they are amazing. And in this spin-off sequel, they have the best because it's evil, cyborgian rubbish, but except Idris Elba is fabulous as a cyborg villain.
Did I ever tell you?
I love my villains a little cyborg.
Did I ever tell
just
you
sort of hot bot.
I've mentioned that Vin Diesel and I worked together at the tunnel. That Vin Diesel was my guard when I was doing ropes. Also, when I was doing the front door of the Limelight, Idris Elba was my bouncer for 3 years.
God, James, what a tragic life.
I think
Here you are. I know, on Hollywood Boulevard. You were with the stars.
And those two went on to star in Hobbs and Shaw and You.
Here you are, despising the people you're with.
On the Wow Report.
That huge, massive franchise. Anywho.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
But let me pick you back up because the lovely thing about this film is actually it isn't just mindless macho action. There's a lot of that. But then there's this great climactic sequence where, not to give it away, but I'm about to give it away, where The Rock goes back to Samoa. So that's kind of nice that he goes back there and the whole denouement plays out with the natives of Samoa versus the high-tech gadgetry and ultra-death weaponry of the evil people. And of course, the thing is, their weaponry is offline, so they can't use it all. So the Samoans, with their clubs and their religious sacred artifacts, whip the shit out of them. There's a fabulous moment also in a helicopter where there's a car, the helicopter's lowered a chain and is dragging the heroes at the sort of
from the
on a car, yes, because the car's trying to stop the helicopter from leaving, and as the helicopter pulls the car into the air, another car hitches on behind it. So in the end, there's like 6 cars daisy chained together with a helicopter trying to like shake them loose off the cliff. It is absolutely stunning. Well, yes, that's true. It's stunning and amazing and bonkers. And actually, having said that about macho action, Helen Mirren's in it, and she's gorgeous. She plays the mother of Jason Statham. And then...
She plays Jason Statham's mother?
Yes, she's in prison, too. And then Vanessa Kirby, who's in The Crown, plays Jason Statham's sister, and she steals the movie. She is fabulous.
Well, that's a very attractive family for a very unattractive
And there's Kevin Hart cameo, and there's... who's the other guy? Who's the Deadpool guy?
Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
He's got a cameo.
I love Ryan Reynolds.
I have to say, it's a pretty great movie.
And the Deadpool guy.
And Tyrese Gibson. And then the feud continues because Tyrese Gibson really hated The Rock. Because you see, The Rock wasn't in the franchise until number 5. And it seems like The Rock has come in and basically taken it off everybody's hands. Yeah.
Which is weird because he's in like every action movie of all time.
He's so hardworking.
He has 3 movies a year.
You know, he came to World of Wonder once. He has the most beautiful skin. You could just lose yourself in it. It's like alabaster. He's just so hardworking and so nice.
What was he going to do with World of Wonder?
I don't know. We were going to do an unscripted show, but I don't know. Here we are, James. Guess we blew it.
You didn't see any potential in The Rock? Is that what it was?
No, we were gagging for it, but I think he decided to go with someone else. Anyway, the reason I mentioned the Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw is because it opens in China today.
Oh, wow.
Which is probably where it will make most of its money. All right. What's next? James, number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. This morning, I leapt out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning.
You lied.
No, I did. I never do that. And I could not go back to sleep again, so I decided to watch Pennyworth on Epix. Pennyworth is the origin story of Alfred Pennyworth, who is Bruce Wayne's butler, Batman's aide-de-camp. It is his, back in the 1960s, he was a mercenary in the army, in the SA army, or the SAS army in England, right?
SWAT.
Is that?
Well, SAS. We have the SAS. That's it.
So,
Which is like SWAT here.
Right.
Okay. And he was sort of like a mercenary murder for hire type thing. And he ends up, it's amazing that it looks like $100 million budget. It's all these sort of swooping drone shots of 1960s England, Carnaby Street and Piccadilly Square, and it's got this amazing soundtrack of all like Rolling Stones and stuff. And I mean, it's not easy to get Rolling Stones soundtrack. I mean, they are very famously tight with that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. The Verve song that they had to.
Exactly. Bittersweet Symphony.
Yeah.
Can see the Rolling Stones in a couple of days. I'll tell you all about it.
Well, anyway, so then he, the guy who plays Pennyworth, his name is Jack Bannon, I believe. Yeah, Jack Bannon, very handsome young man, and he goes to work as a bouncer at a really seedy club.
He could have been working with you.
Yes, in Piccadilly Square or Carnaby Street or something like that. And there he falls in love with this dancer there, and then one night there's a scuffle, and he saves this guy, and it turns out that it's Thomas Wayne, who is Bruce Wayne's father.
Bad.
And so they end up sort of working together. There's like these sort of shady government villains called the Ravens, the Raven Society, that are trying to kill Thomas Wayne, and all sorts of things are happening, blah, 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 blah. But the most interesting thing about it, first of all, the guy, like I said, Jack Bannon, who played Pennyworth, is very handsome. Ben Aldridge, who plays Thomas Wayne, is so dreamy. Oh my God, you could just watch it for those two. But the villain in the story is Paloma Faith. Do you know who Paloma Faith? Paloma Faith.
Shut
Absolutely fucking hysterical. She
plays
the
British songstress.
Yes. She's a British pop star. She plays this Courtney like villainess who is always like just beating the crap out of everyone. I mean, she is an evil psychotic.
Well, I will watch it just for her.
I'm telling you, the very first scene, the opening scene, is she comes in and she's like she's like dressed like she's dressed in 1960s fabulousness, and she just beats the crap out of this man, and she's just like she's talking in this like Cockney, like I don't even understand. I did not understand a word she said.
Called Jason Statham.
Right? But, I mean, I want you to watch the opening scene because she is absolutely the funniest part of the whole series. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love
so
her.
It is a series. It is a series.
It's on Epix, and it's I think 9 episodes.
Is it Marvel then? It must be Marvel, right?
No, it's DC. Cut
that bit out.
But like
We're
I said,
leaving it in.
it looks like they spent $100 million on it. It's absolutely stunning, and the whole cast is brilliant.
And tonally, it's kind of funny too. You're saying?
Well, no, tonally, it's just. I mean, it's you are there in the 1960s. It's not like any other DC thing we've seen before, and it doesn't. It's just interesting, and it's not getting a lot of good reviews, but I'm giving it a good review. There you go.
All right.
Okay. Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Wait,
you can.
Don't you have to do something?
No, he did it. We did it.
Wait, what did we do?
We did number
You did Debra
7,
versus
6,
Megan,
and 5.
and then I did Vin versus The Rock. It was a
So
theme.
we did 7, 6, and 5, and that's how we do it here. So very good.
Yes.
Carry on.
And now we do a trivia question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Courtney Love worked as a stripper at what famous strip
I know
club?
this, of course.
Do you? Is it too easy?
I don't know it. No. Do you have another one now?
I do. What band loaned Courtney Love a studio in Hollywood for her band to rehearse in the early days of Hole?
I don't know about any of that. I don't know about that.
All right. You listen to our report. When we come back, we'll have your answers.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. We're bringing you our countdown of the top 10 things that make us go wow. I'm Fenton, here with James. You're standing in for Tom. Yeah, no, you're not. You're standing in for yourself. James in the center seat, and Blake. Okay, what was the question?
I asked a couple. They're both about Courtney Love. Courtney Love worked as a stripper at what famous strip club?
Cheetahs.
Wrong.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Jumbo's Clown Room.
Jumbo Clown Room, of course. Yes, same general area.
It's here in L.A., Los Angeles.
And
then what band loaned Courtney Love a studio in Hollywood for her band or a horse to rehearse in the early days of Hole? So this would be early 90s.
I know, Pearl Jam. I'm going to say it again. It's like...
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Of course.
That makes sense. Sure.
All right, let's carry on with our countdown. Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4, that's me. I watched a movie on Turner Classic Movies the other night called The General, which I'd never heard of. Have you ever heard about this?
Never.
Okay, it's a gay-themed movie from 1968.
Get out.
No, it was a year before Stonewall. 2 years before Boys in the Band. It stars Rod Steiger, who is a manly man. You know, he was in The Pawnbroker, On the Waterfront, In the Heat of the Night. It also stars John Philip Law, who was...
Jude Law's father?
No, he was the angel in Barbarella.
Okay.
Oh, duh.
No, you know this, right? You know, you've never seen Barbarella? You've never seen Barbarella?
I've never seen Barbarella.
You've never
Is
seen
that
Barbarella?
Jane Fonda?
Yes.
I've never seen
You've
it.
never seen Barbarella? Can we just stop everything and go watch Barbarella?
Okay, I'll watch it. It's streaming, right? Must be streaming on something.
Yes. But he's the angel in that. And he was a big sex symbol in the 1960s. Really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful eyes. Handsome, handsome man. This is, like I said, it's before Stonewall. In most movies that are gay-themed before Stonewall, before the modern era, it does not end well for the homosexual.
No. The gay must die.
The game must die. You've got Suddenly Last Summer, where you have cousin Sebastian,
torn to pieces,
who was eaten
by
by
savages.
by savages that he's been molesting. There's Teenage Sympathy. There's the Children's Hour, which does not go well for Audrey Hepburn.
Sounds
and Shirley
creepy
MacLaine.
already. Yes.
With Shirley
Henry
MacLaine.
Danger.
What?
The musical.
The Killing of Sister George is another one.
Oh,
You know,
right.
there's
Making Love. Actually, no one dies in Making Love.
No, but yeah. But anyway, so this is okay. Rod Steiger is a general. It's after World War II, and he has these new recruits that come in, and he suddenly falls in love with one of the new recruits, John Philip Law, and he just becomes obsessed with him. And
Is it a slightly S&M relationship?
It becomes crazy. It's not The Servant. Is that what you're thinking of?
I was thinking of The Soldier, like the D.H. Lawrence short story, where the general is obsessed with the soldier and ramps up this sort of...
That might be what this is based on, because he sort of he promotes the kid into his office, and then he starts taking him out for drinks and for dinner, and then the boy has a girlfriend, and he starts cock blocking the girlfriend. The girlfriend doesn't like him at all. Things get creepier and creepier, and finally the guy is just like, dude, you gotta leave me alone. And he just sort of gets psychotic from that point. And at the very end, the climax of it, I'm giving this away, but the guy is like, just leave me alone, just stay the hell away from me. I cannot take this anymore. And they're in a bar, and the guy, he slugs the general, Rod Steiger, and he punches him. And as he punches him, Rod Steiger grabs him and starts kissing him in front of everyone in the bar, and everyone is just freaked out because, like, what is going on? And he's like, I didn't do it. I wasn't kissing you. And he has this total, complete psychotic break. And then the next day, he's in front of all his recruits, and he's just batshit crazy, screaming and shouting, and they come and relieve him.
That's what happens to us.
It
That's how we
does.
carry on.
But then someone else comes out and relieves him of duty, and he grabs the gun, goes into the forest, and kills himself. The end. Well, I'm telling you.
What a positive, affirmative message.
It's hard. I imagine that it's hard for someone of this generation, modern era, to watch this because they'd be like, well, why didn't he just go on, Grindr and say he's a daddy bear? And, but like because you don't realize that this for someone like this man, he had no options in his life, and he probably spent his whole life in the closet and hidden. And then he sees this one guy who just turns every button for every knob, and he just goes bananas for this beautiful boy.
Do you remember Last Exit to Brooklyn? There's a similar sort of story, right? The union guy who's straight gets fixated on the character that's played by Bernard in. And
Alexis Arquette was in. I always just think of the tra-la-la who just gets gang banged to death. Remember?
In one of your books, that happens.
Well, almost happened in one of my. I tried to have a
with all the garbage man.
Yeah. But they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me.
You had to take it out of the manuscript.
Yeah, I had to take it out.
Oh my goodness! It was such a powerful scene.
Yeah, it was.
Which book was that in?
It was my young adult book. It was supposed to be an uplifting tale for young homosexuals.
And you got gangbanged by a bunch
to death and left for dead on the side of the road.
Yes.
And they just said, I remember I sent it and I didn't hear back from my editor for like 3 months. And then he wrote back and he said, I thought we were going the uplifting route, James. And they made me take it out.
There's a little literary gem. So The General, yes. Watch it on TSM.
Turner Classic Movie, their app.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Oh, that's me again.
Oh my God!
I am on a tear today.
You're taking the center seats. You won't shut up.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a series on the CW called Hypnotize Me. Do you know do you know anything about this?
No, but that's what you do to me every time.
Yeah,
Did you watch it?
I didn't, but I read a little bit about it, and it's actually
based on a UK
show.
series.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but this is hosted by Tay Diggs, and there's a
who follows me on Instagram, by the way.
Does he? Nice. The hypnotist's name is Keith Barry, and he takes 4 or 5 audience members, he takes them backstage and he hypnotizes them, and then he brings them back on stage and he says, go to sleep, and they go to sleep, and then he walks past each one of them and he gives them a character or a situation, and he says, you think you're Kim Kardashian and you're posing for selfies. You think the floor is hot lava and you have to be carried everywhere. You, every time you hear a bell, you think you're being hypnotized, and each time the bell goes, you think you're being electrocuted, and every time the electrocution gets harder and harder to bear. You think that you're a policeman and you're trying to arrest everybody on stage, and then he takes everybody onto a game show stage and he says, okay, now we're playing a game show and you're in these characters, but you've got to move the balls from one side of the thing to the other, and whoever wins the ball. So everybody is just chaos. This one girl thinks that she's Kim Kardashian and she's posing, and then the policeman is trying to arrest her, but she's like, I'm Kim Kardashian. And then the other woman thinks, and they keep ringing the bell and she keeps getting electrocuted and she's crying and sobbing how much it hurts. And then the other woman is like being carried around because she's afraid of. It's like just absolutely insane. And you gotta think to yourself, is this real?
How do they bring people out at the end?
Well, maybe they don't.
No.
They at the very end, they bring them all out and they ask them if they really believed it, and they were like, yes, I really believed that. It's the weirdest thing. Every single one of them really says they were hypnotized and really said that it's real. But if this hypnotism is real, why hasn't the FBI or the Pentagon or Donald Trump weaponized it? Why?
He did already. He's hypnotized the whole nation.
Is that what? Can you hypnotize someone through the TV? Can you hypnotize someone to vote for Donald Trump? Is this something that we need to be worried about?
I read there was a lawsuit in the UK over someone complaining that they'd been placed under hypnosis for a TV show and that they'd failed to bring them out of hypnosis, and that they were in a state of permanent
walking around thinking they're Kim Kardashian.
I mean, that's what would scare me, is like, I get...
Well, now, I do
so
remember.
Maybe some of these idiots we know actually just never got unhypnotized.
But are some people more susceptible to it? Because I remember one time you sent me, and I shouldn't tell this story but you sent me one time to be hypnotized when you were going to do a series on past life story. You were going to do past life regression. And so you sent me to someone to be hypnotized to see what my past lives were. Unfortunately, I was coked out of my mind and couldn't relax enough to be hypnotized. So I've always thought that I couldn't be hypnotized. But he says that anyone can be hypnotized. Have you tried?
After you failed in the mission, I went and found my own hypnotist and got hypnotized.
Did you? Were you hypnotized?
She said I was. She said it was a light hypnosis. It's like there's deep hypnosis, I think, and then there's light hypnosis. So you feel aware of your surroundings. Yes. And she wasn't making me do silly things. This was on Harley Street in London. I was like trying to find my past lives, and I really did have an experience. But
did you have any past lives?
I did, but it's I found my past life. I found two past lives. But one of them is a mystery to me. It's still like I still don't understand it. Like I know the period.
What was the period?
It's a slight digression, but I was in a very dark place, almost like a cell in solitary. No, it was existentially very bleak.
Yeah.
But I was wearing one of those fabulous Elizabethan collars.
Yeah, you were like in a dungeon?
Collars. I basically was. And I didn't know where I was. I didn't know why I was there. I just knew I was...
You were a political prisoner,
I was so
maybe?
alone and sort of trapped in this isolation. And that's, unfortunately, there's no more color than that. There wasn't a skylight with light coming through the bars. There wasn't... It was just... It's this sort of existential black hole.
Some of the dungeons didn't have windows.
Right,
Some of them, you were just in darkness for years at a time.
Yeah.
But was your rough dirty? How long had you been there?
All I could see was my head and my rough collar. I couldn't see the rest of my body because that was all there was enough light for. Was
fascinating.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you were just a clown.
All right, let's move on. Number two. Speaking of clowns, I went to KCon. Have you ever been to KCon, James?
No.
Do you know what KCon is?
It's for Special K enthusiasts.
What are you looking for?
My water. Where'd it go? I just had it a second ago. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's start over again.
No, we're going to leave it all in. I went to KCon, which was at the
for Special K
LA.
enthusiasts.
It is Korean pop convention. You know, KCon, it was August 15th through 18th at the LA Convention Center. Where's my note? I got a note here. I wrote some. Oh, here we go. Yes.
Yeah, who were some of the people?
Soju.
Yeah, let's see. Atiz, Luna, Momoland, Stray Kids. I mean, I'm frankly never heard of any of them. But it's a 4-day symposium. It attracts about 100,000 people. They take the entire convention center, not just one of the halls, all of the halls. And then at night, they take the Staples Center for sold-out concerts with all the bands. I mean, it's bonkers. Really amazing.
Did you go with no one and...
No, my kids are out of town. I went on my own.
Oh, did everyone look at you like, who's the creepy old man?
No. I was doing a little research because, we do DragCon, and I want to see what the competition's up to.
So did you have like a little reporter's hat and walked around like
surreptitiously taking photos?
A press thing on his hat.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, actually, because there were preteen black girls, middle-aged Latino men, gay couples, 20-somethings. I think it's something like 60% are non-Asian, and only 5%, less than 5%, are Korean. And it's this incredibly diverse mix of, I actually I feel that many of the people at KCon would also be people who watch Drag Race.
Oh,
people
okay.
with colored hair, just, gender fluid. And it was. Have you
become fans of anybody that you had never heard of?
I like a couple of. I mean, we took the kids to see BTS.
Well, I mean, can you
the
imagine?
World Tour. It was amazing.
Yeah,
Just,
I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing I love about the KCon artists is that they're these guys with just lavender-colored hair or just beautifully colored, pastel-colored hair shades.
And they're just doing all the little synchronized dance in those
fabulous
little suits.
That was a fascinating thing. They have these dance-offs. So on a screen, there's like a little stage, and there's a screen, and you can watch the K-pop band performing, and then all the fans are in front of it doing the moves.
Dance.
I was thinking it's like line dancing or country music dance. It was amazing.
Oh, that is fun.
Yeah.
It would be like going to see Gaga and doing all the choreo. That would be fun to me. I want to do that for like exercise.
And the crowd's all around, and then they just they know after like 16 bars or something, they all change over. It's extraordinarily self-regulating, and they're all really good. Anyway, KCon started, I think it was 2012, just after Gangnam Style came out.
Right.
And it was like one day
Has
in LA.
it been almost 10 years since Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
bless it.
Bless it. Yeah. It's pretty, yeah, I thought it was really great, yeah.
Was BTS there? Were any of the big bands?
There probably were. There were big bands who, like, every now and then screams would erupt, as someone. But I honestly, I don't know any of them.
Well, I know Monster X now. I'm
right.
a huge Monster X fan.
And Blackpink.
Blackpink, yes. And there's Cody and Wyatt, who are two male hosts of the popular YouTube music chat show Gay Pop, and they did a special appearance as Snack Pink. Okay. All right. Should we take a break? You're a little sleepy now.
Yeah, I'm a little tired.
Good. Maybe that, you sure that was water?
Well,
Not ethanol. Like there's this massive. People are dying in Costa Rica. Like I think 50 people.
Oh, is this
from drinking
is that
ethanol?
What it was?
Yes.
Because I knew that all the tourists were dying. And we
Yes,
couldn't figure out what
in
it
the
was.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's just been a whole spate of them. So
Wait, is it a different thing than what's happening?
no,
in
it's the
Dominican?
same basic thing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
poisoned alcohol.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Because they would all have a cocktail and then they die.
Yes.
Good God.
You're looking a little sweaty.
No, I'm fine. I'm not sweaty. How dare you?
That's me.
All right, you're watching the Wow Report, listening to the Wow Report. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
All right, welcome back. I'm Fenton here with James and Blake. We've been counting down the top 10 things that make us go
Wow.
And we've reached number 1.
Number 1.
RuPaul's Drag Race UK.
It's been announced, hasn't it?
The
Yep.
cast has been revealed.
Cast has been revealed, and it will premiere on October 3rd.
Yep.
Very exciting. Do
on
you
the
want to
BBC.
mention the people who they are? Do you want to mention all the names?
These are in alphabetical order,
So we aren't playing favorites.
right? We got Bag of Chips,
I do love me some bag of chips.
Blue Hydrangea.
I don't know Blue Hydrangea, but she's pretty.
Now, I love this name, Cheryl Hole. Because Cheryl Cole is a big celebrity in the UK.
Share a hole, like share your hole.
Well, I guess that may be. Crystal.
I don't know Crystal.
We've got Davina DeCampo.
Nice.
Gothy Kendall.
I love that.
Do you know Gothy Kendall?
I don't know. I've seen the pictures of Gothy, but no.
And it's spelled Kendoll, like
As
all
in
together.
Kendall.
Right.
yeah, like Gothy Kendall.
Then we've got Scaredy Cat. Scum or Something Wong.
I don't know. That we could not do here, I don't think.
Well, I just want to leap in because I was like, oh my God, you can't have a drag queen called Something Wong. Something Wong is Asian. And Something Wong took the name. You remember the air crash in
Yes.
San Francisco where on the local news they went on and they said, oh, we've just learned that the people injured in the crash were Something Wong, Big Bang Ow, Holy Fook.
We Too Low.
It's on
Wait,
Google.
were they joking? What
It
were
was,
they doing?
but they were joking and they sent it in to like the news people, but the news people like actually ran
Someone
it.
pranked the local news. And so the local news said, we can reveal the crew on the plane. And they read out these names.
Holy fuck.
Right.
That was one
Big
of them.
Bag Owl, Big Bang Owl. It was a terrible. Just Google it, you'll see.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah.
that's when Something Wrong was woke, took on the name, and
Okay.
yeah.
And then we've got the Vivian,
She has been on Transformations.
and we've got Vinegar Strokes.
Do you know what vinegar strokes are?
Is that a UK thing?
Apparently, though, I didn't really know. Apparently, it's the. I believe. Oh, gosh, I'm suddenly like coy. I'm suddenly a little. Apparently, it's a face you make when you.
Oh, orgasm?
Yes, thank you. I don't know why I had such trouble saying that, but
Because
yes.
Nolan listens to this sometimes. Well, you can watch.
Wait, what? Vinegar strokes, what does that
I
even
have
mean?
no idea.
You're stroking and you make a vinegar face?
Maybe that's it. Like sucking on a lemon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you having a stroke while you're eating
I-
vinegar?
it's the final few. I think it's the.
All that gets popped out. Then none of that gets in.
All right.
All right. Well, let me tell you how you can watch.
This is the important part.
Yeah. You can watch the show on BBC Three iPlayer in the UK and Ireland, WoW Presents Plus in the US, and on Crave in Canada. And if you're still not sure where you can watch, you can check out our Where to Watch page by finding the link on WoW World of Wonders socials.
Yeah, basically it's on WoW Presents Plus everywhere around the world except for Canada, UK,
And Ireland.
An island, yeah. And what was I supposed to, I'll just have you know, James, is $3.99 a month, which is less than the price of a latte, but so much more.
Get it while you can.
Yep. wow-presents.com.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning into the Wow Report here on Rate.
Oh, and make
yes.
sure you get your tickets to DragCon New York so you can meet these
They'll all
UK
be
queens.
there. All the UK queens will be there.
Totally buried the headline.
Yes.
The queens of Drag Race UK will be at DragCon in New York City, so you can come meet them all.
Yep. Get your
Nice,
tickets,
nice.
RuPaulsDragCon.com.
Well, thanks for listening. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, James.
Nice. Yes, I'm enjoying my new seat now. I'm never gonna change.
I look forward to seeing you in your old place next week.
Mm-hmm.
And same time, same place next week, right?
Yep.
Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.